Hello and welcome to WJTS in.form. It's summer garden time. Most of you already have your garden completely out, maybe even getting some vegetables from it, probably. Well, we're going to find out about summer gardening in this edition of WJTS in.form. Joining me in the studio is Jan Dougan. She is the Du Bois County Extension Educator. And Jan, it's good to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be back.
Well, we are going to be talking about summer gardens and vegetables, and you've brought some things already which people probably have plenty of, and that's zucchini.
Oh my goodness, yes. And I have my basket here of produce, and I'll just put this up on my lap so we can all see it. But I just went up to the garden and picked up a few things so that we could talk about a few things. And you know, we're always trying to encourage people to eat more fruits and vegetables. And gardening is a great way to do that, to grow some vegetables in your garden. And of course, zucchinis are something that we all have too many of usually.
Yes. Yeah, whenever somebody grows zucchini, they grow zucchini. Just a few plants gives you a lot of produce.
It does. I remember when my children were young, and you know, when you had too much produce coming from your garden and you wanted to share it with your neighbors, I would fill their wagon and tell them, okay, if they want it, so you can make some money if you want to sell the cabbage or sell the broccoli or sell the tomatoes, but everybody gets a free zucchini with whatever they buy.
That's right. Sounds like a bonus.
Yes, it was a bonus.
Well, now I know you can use zucchini for cooking, slicing it up and mixing it in with things, but you also can use it for zucchini bread.
Sure.
And I know we have taken zucchini for zucchini bread, but chopped it up, got it ready, put it in baggies and frozen.
Yes.
And then you can make zucchini bread with your own zucchini in the winter.
Sure, you can. You can do it either way. You can go ahead and grate your zucchini and freeze it. Now, the National Center for Home Food Preservation does recommend that you steam blanch or blanch that zucchini before freezing. Or if you want to make your bread, you know, sometimes it's easier just to go ahead when you have everything out and make your bread and then freeze your bread and then it's ready to go. But either way works, and it's a great way to use that produce up.
Okay, now you said steam blanch your zucchini.
Right.
How do you do it? Do you do that before or after you grate it?
Well, you would grate it first, and then you could steam blanch it, and that's just blanching with steam. When we blanch vegetables before freezing, that stops the enzymes from growing, and that's what makes the plant mature. So, you know, a lot of people do it without blanching. It's not recommended procedure by the National Center for Home Food Preservation. Because your produce in the freezer can go bad. So we really want you to try to blanch it before. Now, there are some vegetables that we have in the garden that we don't need to blanch, but we'll talk about that another day. I want to share some tips about zucchini, because look at this one I found.
That's the size I'm used to.
Well, I know, and you know, a lot of folks that I know, this is what they want to try to do with their zucchini. And really, when the zucchinis get this big, they get tough, they're full of seeds, and they're really not as tasty as the smaller zucchinis. You can use it. It's not unsafe to use, but it's just not as great a produce as if you pick them smaller. Sometimes they get away from us in the garden, or you know, we can't see zucchini under the leaves because they're green, just like the green leaves, and it's kind of hard to find those sometimes. But if you want to use one that's this large for like your bread, or we make a zucchini chocolate cake with shredded zucchini, or you could throw zucchini into muffins, you could throw zucchini into pancakes even, or even into your spaghetti sauce if you wanted to grate it and throw it into your spaghetti sauce to sneak those vegetables in a little bit. But you would want to first wash this. We want to always wash our produce to try to get the dirt off our produce. And when I say wash, I mean cool running water. So you would want to use cool running water. And I have a little small vegetable brush that I like to use to make sure that I get all the dirt off. Because if we don't take the dirt off, and there could be pathogens or bacteria in the dirt that would be on the zucchini, and then when we slice it, it goes into the zucchini. So we want to be sure that we wash before we slice or dice or grate or whatever we're going to do with cool running water. Most of our produce from our garden. Okay, so we'd want to cut this, and we'd probably want to take those center seeds out. And even because this outer skin is tougher, we know a lot of the nutrients lie right under the skin, but because this is so tough, we probably want to peel this too. So I would probably peel it first, chop both ends off, slice it down the center, take a spoon. A spoon that works really well would be a serving spoon because the flesh is really soft. So we can just take that serving spoon and just scoop those seeds out, throw them in the compost or throw them away or put them in the garden, whatever you want to do with them, and then chop or grate up what's left of the zucchini. So we can use it, but it's much better if you pick your zucchinis about this size.
Yeah, that's a good size for just slicing up and
right.
grilling or adding to anything you want to do.
You know, and if you want to grill these, which is really wonderful to do, just wash it like we talked about, cut both ends off, slice it down the center. You can lay those two halves on the grill, and in a few minutes you've got a great vegetable that you can add to your plate. I like to put a little balsamic vinaigrette on it when I grill it, or a little Italian dressing on it when I grill it, just to give it a little bit more flavor, because, you know, in my opinion, zucchini isn't a strong flavor of any kind, so flavoring it kind of helps. So I want to show you something else that I have in my garden this year. So we talked about these a little earlier, Bill, and you thought they were summer squash.
Right.
Zucchini is a type of summer squash, but these are called golden zucchinis. And I picked these really small because sometimes I like to do this, especially when we have a lot coming on. If we can slow that down a little bit, then we can use them like this. But these are really tender and really great to have. And you know, in some high-end grocery stores, you'd pay a premium price for the baby vegetables. You know, the gourmet, they call them the gourmet vegetables, and these would be in that category. So this is simply a golden zucchini. So it's simply zucchini that's yellow. And one of the things I really like about these is when I first discovered these is that they are so much easier to see in the garden because they're the blossom's yellow or yellow orange, and then you see this under the green leaf, and it's a lot easier to find than this one. So that's why we've started growing these, and plus just the variety. You can cook these together, you can saute them, you can stir fry them, and they just look really nice on the plate then. Add a little color to your plate.
And if you've got both, you can have a little variety of color.
Yeah.
And color will help you to eat more vegetables.
It will. It will.
What's the best way to keep zucchini after you pull it out of the garden? Well,
actually, I like to keep it on the counter for a day, but then I would refrigerate it. I don't, I try to use things up right away because most produce you do want to use in you know, 2 or 3 days. You want to use it so that it's fresh and it's good. And so if you want to go ahead and freeze it, you go ahead and freeze it, or you go ahead and use it in baking. But if you try to keep ahead of things, or share things with your coworkers or your neighbors, or, you know, if you have an abundance in your garden, the food bank is always welcome to take some extra produce too, so that they can share that with others. And then at the food bank, our family nutrition program assistants, they go, and if there's produce that somebody's brought in, they'll help the individuals there understand how they can prepare that easily, or how they can use that, or what they need to cook that with, so that they can enjoy it with their families.
Okay, and you also brought some corn on the cob.
It's
bring time for
some
sweet
corn. It's just now coming on. I've seen it in a few locations, and just picked up a couple of these that were local. Not real big yet, could be the variety, but you know, there's a number of ways that we can prepare corn. One of our favorite ways is to take some of these outer husks off of the corn and cut off the silk, soak it in water, and then do it on the grill. Put it on the grill.
And you just let it go. It's really easy.
Yeah, and I leave a couple. I usually open it up, clean this out, check for any insects or anything, but then I leave a couple of the husks on and just put that on the grill. And after it's been in the water, it's like steaming the corn. Okay. And so that's a really great way to do it. But you know, there's a number of ways that we can do corn. Corn's great in the microwave. Usually 2 minutes per ear, depending upon how big in diameter the corn is.
Instead of boiling it in water, just put it in the microwave.
Yes, you can.
In the husk or out of the husk?
No, I usually take it out of the husk when I do that. I usually put it in, I have a plate that I can put it on, and then I cover it. I have a lid that I can put over it and cover it.
So it kind of keeps the steam in there.
Yeah, it steams it. Steams it that way.
I've thought about doing that in the microwave. I know the old way that I used to always do it was boil it in water, but now we do it on the grill, which is so easy too.
Yeah, depending upon if you want to be grilling out, or if you want to, you know, it depends too on how many you're preparing. If you're going to just do 1 or 2 in the microwave is really easy to do like that.
Again, like zucchini, what's a good way to keep corn after you pick it or purchase it?
Well, a lot of times I prefer to freeze it because I just love to have it available year round. And so if we were going to freeze the corn, we would want to clean it and shuck it. We'd want to take the silks off. We'd want to wash it under cool running water, and then we would want to blanch it. And you can blanch corn either with the corn on the cob, or you can cut it off and blanch it. I prefer to blanch it on the cob. So when we say blanching, what that means is we're going to put a big pot of water on the stovetop. We're going to bring that to a boil, and when it's boiling, then we're going to put a few ears of corn down in the boiling water. And again, there's a chart from the National Center for Home Food Preservation, depending upon the diameter of the corn, how long you would blanch it in the warm boiling water. Okay. Then you would remove it from that and chill it or cool it in iced water the same amount of time that you would blanch it. And that's going to stop the enzymes from growing. You can either package it, dry it, package it whole on the cob. If you've got a lot of room in your freezer, you could do it that way, or go ahead and cut it off the cob and then package it in. I just use those disposable zip type freezer bags, and be sure to label it that it's sweet corn from this summer, and package it, put it in your freezer, and you've got corn year round.
And make sure you put a date. I've done that before, put something in the freezer and I forgot to put a date on. How long do you have it? Because you forget it's in there.
That's true. That's part of the labeling. We want you to put what the product is, the name of the product. We want you to put the date when you processed it. And then, most things that we put in the freezer, we need to use up within a year's time.
Okay. Now, if you do corn that way and you freeze it on the cob and you bring it out, do you need to let it thaw before you cook it in boiling water, or put it right in boiling water frozen?
You could just put it right in the water frozen if you want to leave it on the cob. A lot of people don't choose that method simply because it takes up so much room in the freezer to do that. And I've heard lots of stories from folks who've done corn lots of different ways, people that don't blanch it, people that just stick it in the freezer, and those aren't recommended procedures from the National Center for Home Food Preservation. And people are taking a risk of not having a good product when they don't follow proper directions.
Okay, well, Jan, thank you very much for all the advice.
Okay, great.
So now we know what to do with our zucchini that's in the garden.
Yeah.
All right.
Enjoy.
Enjoy it, that's right. And get the golden zucchini, that's a great idea. This has been WJTS in.form. Our guest has been Jan Dougan. She is the Dubois County Extension Agent and the Extension Educator. And she always comes in and gives us great advice on healthy living. Thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.